Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and I thought I'd give a little bit of an update on things going on with the channel as we get close to 200,000 subscribers, and there's still a lot to learn about the post-election political landscape. It does seem to be calming a little. So what I'm going to go over here, what's been happening with politics on YouTube in general, what I'm doing at the moment, and what I'm working on later this month. So I think I may have mentioned this before, but as I began growing this channel in 2019, I did say at the time I expected the growth to be fairly decent because politics at the time is absolutely crazy. But there would come a time when it normalises, and who knows what happens then. Well, politics hasn't completely normalised, but it has come way less chaotic. There was also a significant drop in people looking up political content in late summer, something I could see in my analysis of several channels, not just my own, but backed up by what YouTube were telling me. In fact, I was told that initially I was bucking the trend when, you know, they were dropping for everyone else. I was retaining decent views, but reality hit in late August even for me. Then a really bizarre feature. This is a chart of, like, for me, this is just for me, my average views per long form video per week from early February up to now. Very weird, the last couple of months is how the rate goes up 1 week, down the next, up 1 week, down the next, consistently. It's been going on for over 2 months. There was a little bit of it going on early summer as well. It's not normal, extremely weird. I have no explanation for that. But never mind, just my channel. In terms of the general decline, it was put down to people being worn out by the general election and then the riots. I've also noticed across the selection of very different political YouTube channels that I spy on for my analysis, a bit of a recent bounce back recently, you know, only a little bit, but nonetheless, slight recovery. But although there's been depressed views across the board, including YouTube news channels, it's not just commentary channels, I still anticipate long-term depressed views for my own channel. Basically, my hypothesis is that the three main factors at play here, and at the moment I can't really separate them out. The first is the drop in available viewers for political content. This is the factor hitting everyone right now, whether they be right-wing, left-wing, unbiased, not pro or anti-Labour, doesn't seem to matter. The second is the fact that I've effectively gone from being critical of almost everything the government do to being critical of some things and praising most of it. And the third is that the government are no longer feeding me with constant scandals and outrages, which are good for attracting views. The sky is falling. It's way better for views than, oh, this should make things better. But the good news is that the depression of views right now is down to all three of these factors in whatever ratio, and the channel views are still strong, and this is probably the worst it will be. Labour must surely be at their least popular as a combination of front-loading the costs, as always has to happen, and being crap at communications. Because even if they continue to be crap at communications, which I fervently hope they will not, we will at least get to see the practical benefits of the costs that they've now front-loaded as the Parliament bumbles merrily along. So I'd be very surprised if we've not now passed the worst case scenario for the channel, which was the last couple of months, and that worst case scenario was actually fairly decent. So long term, it's all looking good. However, there are still things I want to sort out. Now, when it comes to the viability of a channel such as this, there are, I suppose, a couple of ways of prioritising views, and they're both valid, but I have a reason for adopting my priority. So the first is you can say, well, what matters is overall views for the channel, right? The more overall views, the more subscribers you're likely to get, and of course, the more ad revenue you'll get. The way to prioritise that is to worry less about how many views per video you're getting and just overall views. So in other words, crank out as many videos as you can, which works. And I have been recently sticking out a third video on most days, but I have to be careful because until last week, I'd found it very difficult to do 3 videos a day, which is why I basically didn't, because there wasn't enough source material. Now, that is not to say there isn't enough political news of interest, because there absolutely was. But I am very conscious of what this channel is supposed to be about. So yes, it's nice being a full-time YouTuber and using, you know, is my income. I'm my own boss. I can work whenever, as long as it gets done. I'm quite flexible in when that work gets done, meaning my days are nice and malleable. A nice relaxed pace of life and work-life balance for someone who doesn't like going out anyway. Also means that when the post arrives, I can answer the door so they don't have to try and drop kick the packages through the bathroom window, which is always good. But the channel has a purpose as well. So when there are important messages to get out there, whether it be about campaigns particularly close to my heart or at election time. I want to get a message out to as many people as possible, and for that message to have some impact. And to do that, it's not enough for the channel to have a certain number of subscribers or a certain number of views. What matters is views per video. Because if I put out an important message in a video, that's one video, how many people see it is tied very strongly. There's a strong correlation with the average number of views per video I get. So, you know, if my average number of views per video is, say, 20,000, and I put out a video with this important message on it, and, you know, I can make it as appealing as my other videos, it'll get about 20,000 views. If my average number of views per video is 50,000 views, then I can hopefully get that message out to 50,000 people directly. So that is, for me, the logic. So for me, I would prefer to work out ways to boost the number of views per video rather than just putting out more videos. Also, there are some political topics which I could have talked about at length on the channel. I mean, sometimes I went, oh, there's not really much to talk about. What I didn't mean was there is absolutely nothing I could talk about. What I mean is, in terms of maintaining my target audience, in YouTube, you have to really focus very keenly on what is your target audience. I'm mostly trying to attract those people who are interested enough in progressive politics, ideally, to discuss it with others. I mostly want people to watch the channel who are interested in political discussions in order to use them with friends and family, and so hopefully the message can then spread further than simply the number of people watching it. Which means I focus quite carefully on the topics rather than just picking whatever happens to be flavour of the day. Because that runs the risk of changing the audience. Basically, what matters to me is not how many views I get, but how many of, like, what you might call the right views. Obviously, if lots of other interested people enjoy listening to me as well, that's fantastic. But just like a political party, I have my key target audience, and I need to keep it constantly in mind, rather than just picking up the biggest story every day. So the stories I focus on are those that are more likely to be influential on national politics, particularly Westminster politics. So I've even dialed down the number of videos I could have done about the US election to what is sort of relevant to UK politics, because my goodness, I could have done a video every day on that circus for the past few months. But it would have risked changing the type of audience. And then when I decided to, when things calm down, goodness knows when they will calm down, it's not after the election results, I imagine. You know, it's like the audience, I could just lose a good big chunk of the audience. So in terms of what I'm going to be doing now, so there are a couple of things. The first, as I say, is while suitable source material lies, I will be trying to do 3 videos a day. I mean, apart from anything else, you know, some of the third videos I've been doing in the last week have actually done better than some of the other 2. So like my intention has been that the third video is like, I try and work out which videos are going to do best, and I try and do the one that I think will do best in the second slot of the day. It's not always worked out like that. So sometimes, you know, if you sort of decide to prioritize one video over another, sometimes you make the wrong decision anyway. So doing 3 is better for that. But it is only as long as the source material allows for it. And it may be temporary. So I'm not making it a formal part of my schedule. But there's something else as well. So the most important feature of a video in terms of attracting views is the thumbnail and title. Because if people don't click on it, it don't matter how good the video is. And I changed the style earlier this year. It seemed to make a slight positive difference, though only slight. But I'm monkeying about again. There's a really useful tool that was added to YouTube earlier this year. So when uploading your thumbnail, you actually have the option of uploading up to 3 different ones, and then YouTube will show some people one, some people the other, some people the other. Although at the moment I'm only doing 2 comparisons. And then it will work out which one's doing best and then switch to that one for all future views. Now, some of you may have already noticed this because you may have seen the new thumbnail. So I've been trying out 2 different kinds. The first is my usual design. Now, I quite like it because it's nice and distinctive. A returning viewer will instantly recognize it and go, that's my video, I'll click on that. But it may not be as good for attracting new viewers. So my latest design removes most of the distinctive elements in favor of a sort of image focus, which may, again, need work because I'm not a graphic designer. So I'm going to keep doing this while I think about it this week. The initial results at the moment are that the newer thumbnails are on balance, not exclusively, but on balance, doing slightly better than my standard design, although only slightly. It is sort of a bit of a toss-up. What I'm trying to do is think of a way of combining the two. A recognizable style for returning viewers, but with the image focus for new viewers. So I'm going to put my thinking cap on about that probably next week. In terms of other stuff, I'm going to stop doing the 2 morning shows on Politics Social after this week to build in more planning time into the week. I'm not doing enough of that recently. I'll still do the Friday afternoon one when Graham gets back from his island. But I am going to use the time to do a few things. First of all, look at whether I do carry on with a 3rd video a day, or do I add in a half-hour live stream myself, although that would be late afternoon, not in the morning. Also be looking at ways of maybe sprucing up the visuals on the videos themselves. In other words, basically having a look at maybe developing some new skills and seeing if I can apply it to the videos. But that's where we are at the moment. Hopefully caught up there. Hopefully more updates for the 200,000 subscriber video, which will hopefully be before Christmas. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.